Doom Eternal is one of the most iconic games ever made, with beautiful graphics, amazing gameplay mechanics, and is overall just a great game. However, the game is not perfect, and there are several core issues that you must know about before you buy it. But Doom Eternal is a fast-paced first-person shooter that takes place in a dystopian future, where Earth has been overrun by demonic forces. You play as a Doom Slayer, you are a powerful warrior, and you must stop the invasion and save humanity. The ultimate goal is to defeat the demonic lords controlling the invasion and bring an end to the destruction of Earth. But this is not easy, and along the way you'll battle through hordes of enemies in a ton of different environments using many different weapons. The nature of the game is pure adrenaline pumping action, where there's a massive focus on fast movement, quick reflexes, and strategic combat. In terms of the main gameplay, it is all about high intensity combat. You must move quickly through levels, take down waves of demons, and use a ton of different weapons and abilities to survive. The combat is clearly designed to be fluid and aggressive, where you are highly encouraged to stay on the move, constantly dodging, jumping, and dashing to avoid the enemy attacks, but also while dealing damage yourself. The game features many different weapons, each weapon with a very unique feel and also function. For example, the shotgun is great for close range combat, while the rocket launcher is better for taking out larger groups of enemies from a distance. And as you progress through the game, you'll even unlock more weapon mods that add additional abilities to your arsenal. Now, when you first start out, you'll want to focus on the main gameplay mechanics. This will be the shooting, the jumping, and using glowy kills. However, as you progress, you will be introduced to more advanced tools and systems. Now, one of the best things about the game is the sheer amount of replayability due to the challenging combat, the multiple difficulty levels, and the various gameplay modes. So the campaign itself is designed to be replayed with secrets, collectibles, and many challenges that are scattered throughout each level. The game also includes the mode called Master Levels, which are harder versions of the existing levels with more enemies and tougher challenges. So once you have mastered the campaign, you can do this instead. And that brings me to my next point, the game's progression system. And it is quite cleverly designed, with a good gradual increase in power and abilities. So in the early game, you'll start with the most basic weapons like the combat shotgun and very limited abilities, where the initial game levels are designed to introduce you to the core mechanics. This could be the glowy kills, the chainsaw use, basic movement skills. As the game then progresses, you'll unlock new weapons and tools. This could be the super shotgun with its meat hook attachment, which allows you to grapple towards enemies for close range combat. You will also gain access to more powerful abilities, which are super important and essential to use with the tougher enemies. Then when you reach the end game, it is a massive test of everything you've learned so far. You must become a master at using all your weapons, abilities, and movement skills to survive the hardest challenges. The storyline is also a key part of the game, as you battle through hell to stop the demonic invasion of Earth. So while the main focus of the game isn't the intense action, the story provides really good context and motivation for what you're doing, and it will be presented through a combination of cutscenes, in-game dialogues, and lore entries that you will find throughout the levels. And these levels are large and intricate and really encourages exploration, where every level is packed with secrets, hidden items, and even optional challenges that will reward you for exploring the environment. Let's go deeper into the best and most unique feature of the game, and that is of course the combat loop. It is not just fast-paced action, there's also a massive layer of strategy that really sets the game apart from other shooters. So the combat loop is designed around the idea of constantly managing your health, armor, and ammo by using abilities and tactics. For example, when your health is low, you can perform a glowy kill on a weakened enemy. This triggers a brutal finishing move and restores some of your health. If you're running out of ammo, using the chainsaw on a demon will instantly refill your ammo reserves. The flame belch flamethrower allows you to set enemies on fire, which causes them to drop armor shards when they take damage. So instead of just trying to survive and shoot at everything that moves, you have to constantly think about your enemies to target and which tools to use to maintain your resources. So as you can probably imagine, this system makes the combat way more dynamic and engaging. You can't just stand still and shoot, and you must be moving constantly, making split-second decisions about what enemies to prioritize and how to maximize your health and ammo. So there's a constant flow of switching between weapons, managing your resources, and using your abilities wisely, which makes every battle feel quite high stakes, where reflexes and quick thinking are really important. Now, as you can probably imagine, this means that the game is quite difficult, and that brings me to my next point, the game's difficulty. As you can probably imagine, with all these gameplay mechanics and the flow of combat, it is quite challenging, especially for new players, as the game does not hold your hand at all and instead throws you into the deep end and expects you to learn through trial and error. But this is deeply rewarding if you can enjoy a fast-paced, skill-based experience. Now, while there are some tutorials and prompts early on that introduce the basic mechanics, the game quickly ramps up in difficulty and expects you to learn the systems on your own. So as a new player, you will be quite overwhelmed at first, especially during the hard encounters with larger group of enemies. For instance, at the start, you won't be very good at managing your health, armor, and ammo, which will quickly lead to a bad situation. Now, the game does have many difficulty levels, anywhere from easy to extremely hard, where the newer or more casual player could play an easier setting, where you can just enjoy the story and the thrill of combat without the extreme pressure. However, in contrast, the more hardcore player will really appreciate the hardest challenges, where even the slightest mistake will lead to a quick death. Let's talk about the graphics, the sound, and atmosphere. And as you can tell by this video, the graphics are stunning and really brings the hellish and futuristic environment to life. This could be seen with the detailed visuals, anywhere from the grotesque demons to the massive ruined landscapes, which all create a vivid and intense atmosphere. The game's art style combines a mix of dark, gritty textures, but also with a vibrant, explosive color, where every battle is chaotic but also visually striking. The game's sound and music are also top-notch, and play a massive role in the game's immersion. The heavy, adrenaline-pumping soundtrack will perfectly complement the fast-paced action. Meanwhile, the sound effects, like the war of demons and the blast of your weapons, add to the overall intensity, making every moment feel quite impactful. Now, that being said, the game is not perfect, and there are several pros and cons that we must cover. The first pro has to be the intense and fast-paced combat. It is honestly one of the most exhilarating and fast-paced combat in any game ever seen, with amazing gameplay that is designed to keep you constantly moving, thinking, and adapting, making every encounter really thrilling. And it's honestly perfect for you if you enjoy action-packed games that'll really challenge your reflexes, but also your strategy. The next pro is the stunning graphics and immersive atmosphere. The game has really detailed graphics and a powerful soundtrack that create a very immersive but also intense atmosphere. The visuals and explosive action really pulls you into the game world, while the adrenaline-pumping music keeps you engaged throughout the entire thing. It is this combination that makes the game a true standout. The next pro is how deep the combat system goes. It is so varied, offering so many different types of weapons, abilities, and strategic options, where you are highly encouraged to use all the tools that you can, anywhere from the glory kill to the chainsaw, which makes the combat both deep but also rewarding. And now for the cons. The first con has to be the steep learning curve. Doom Eternal will not hold your hand, and you must learn quickly through trial and error, which can definitely be frustrating if you're not used to the fast-paced action, or if you prefer games with more guidance. And the second con is the lack of appeal for the more casual player. So even when you learn the basics and learn the mechanics, it will still be hard, as the game gets more challenging every level you go through. Then you also add the relentless pace and the need for quick reflexes, which can make the game very overwhelming for the casual gamer. And the final con is the combat complexity. And while it is overall a massive pro, it will also be a con for some players, as the deep combat system, while it's a strength, can also be quite overwhelming. With so many different weapons, abilities, and strategies to manage, it can be quite difficult to keep track of during intense battles, and will definitely be a drawback if you prefer simpler, more straightforward gameplay. Now, with that being said, let's grade the game. And Doom Eternal gets a massive 9 out of 10, and for several reasons. First, the exceptional combination of fast-paced strategic combat, the stunning graphics, and immersive atmosphere. The game is a true standout in the first-person genre, offering deep but also challenging combat. Additionally, the variety of weapons, abilities, and strategies will ensure the gameplay is very varied and offers a ton of replayability. However, there are several drawbacks. The game's steep learning curve and relentless pace will be quite daunting for new players. So while the combat and complex mechanics are what makes the game so good, it will also be the biggest reason as to why new players won't enjoy it, as it can be very overwhelming for a newcomer that are looking for a more guided experience. And it's clearly one of those games where you either love it or hate it. But if you can enjoy a fast-paced, intense shooter with a high skill ceiling, with deep combat system and immersive atmosphere, Doom Eternal is a must-buy game for you, and it's absolutely worth your time and money. For more amazing games, click here.